in this corner, at 5'10", weighing 165 pounds, from Huntington Beach, Joe 5 o'clock somewhere. And in this corner, 5'11", 235 pounds, from St. Louis, Missouri, Anthony Perry.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Welcome to the second half of Finalize This. It's still Thursday, May 16th. I'm still Joe 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hey, this is Anthony Perry.
And I'm still sitting in. I'm Michael Liu.
Okay, in this second half, we actually got a bunch to talk about still. Coming up this Saturday, we got UFC on FX number 8. We got the NBA Western Conference playoffs to talk about. We'll hit a couple little stories, and I'm just saying, I know there's a move that happened in the NFL that you can't be too happy about, but I'm pretty stoked on. It's funny how we've been connected again through the world of sports.
It is, man. It is.
But first, let's see. Let's talk about the man.
Which man?
The man who is back.
Uh-oh. Eldridge.
Now, I know golf isn't everyone's favorite thing. And yesterday when we were getting our set list together, you talking about, well, we should do a story on Tiger Woods. I kind of rolled my eyes at it like, okay, that's cool. Like, I like Tiger Woods. I like that he's kind of a dick. I like that, he brings different fans to watching golf. Like, it's an old man sport, but he makes it exciting for even younger folks. I hadn't realized, though, just how dominant he'd been this year. He's been in 7 events. He's made all 7 cuts. He's been in 5 top 10s. He's won 4 of these. He's averaging under 70 strokes, 69.2, so just over 69 strokes every event. And he's already made $5.8 plus million just in 2013. It's May, dude.
Well, they say get that right. $1 million.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
But, you look at Tiger Woods and you say he scored 69 points. He's playing very good golf right now. And the thing that gets me, I don't know, Michael, if you follow him much, the thing I like about Tiger is he's putting his driver down. And that's where he's made usually all of his mistakes, is playing with his driver. And he's putting it down. The last event, the Players that he just played, and they said he used it twice. Can you imagine if that man can take his pride, put his driver down? They said you can't beat Tiger Woods. If he's in the fairway hitting in, he's got to be one of the best, if not the best hitters of long irons playing. And I don't see anybody beating this guy without a driver.
I always wonder why no other professional golfers go and get that, Terrell Owens Batman build that Tiger Woods has. Like, obviously, you're going to, drive the ball a lot further than everyone else if you're just yoked like he is. I mean, there's no golfer I can think of, past, present, that's been in that kind of shape that Tiger Woods is.
I will say in the last 5 years, he's changed golf when it comes to that fitness. A lot of the guys now are fit. They're lifting weights, they're running. They're smaller guys, more guys they say are just felt. They're just cut up, and it's crazy. Like Sergio is not a big guy anymore.
I was wondering when Sergio was going to get brought up since we're talking about Tiger right now.
And I say he's one of those guys because there's a few guys that are on the tour that are in great shape. If you see these guys pick up a golf club and you see their forearms, you're like, wow, these are big dudes. They're not small. They're not. All of them are really tall. You're talking about Tiger 6'1". You're talking about golfers between 5'10" and 6'3". And some of those guys hit a ball a long way. John Daly was one of the biggest hitters, and ain't nothing muscular on him.
No.
But his right hand that he picks up his beer with. So, you look at a guy and say, some can just swing if they have the flexibility they need. But Tiger is not the biggest hitter. He used to be one of the longest hitters he's not the longest hitter anymore, but he might be the best hitter from the middle of that fairway hitting something in. Because like he said after the event, I shaped shots. I hit balls right to left, left to right. I did what I needed to do to get balls in positions to score. I looked at that guy like, oh, man, he is back.
I like John Daly, but then again, I have a keychain that says white trash, so,
I like John Daly, too, except that, when he stopped drinking beer, he almost had a nervous wreck on a golf course, and I thought, oh, gosh, and his nicotine problem, like, he needed to just get out for a minute just to get out of it. But I'm looking at Tiger, and I say he fell to 58. Now he's back to number 1 and has been since, I think, the 3rd event this year.
Crazy.
So he's now the number 1 golfer in the world. Everybody's looking up to him again, and they're all happy to do that because when Tiger's number 1, the endorsement money keeps building. You got more people spending money to endorse events, so that money's going to go back up. So you had guys that didn't make money 15 years ago in golf. I mean, you had very few who made money. Now you got guys who might be 40, 50th on the list that are making $4 and $5 million a year in golf. So golf has become a really rich sport again.
Are we back to that point where every time there's a major event and the question's asked Tiger versus the field, you got to go with Tiger?
Not yet. I think once he wins one, yes.
Well, since we're on the golfing subject, let me ask this. What place did Happy Gilmore or Shooter McGavin place? That's my attempt at a joke, and I am done with golf.
You know, I think it worked. You got us both laughing here in the studio.
That was excellent, Michael Lou. I really like that. Happy Gilmore and McGavin. Shoot the fingers. Shoot the fingers.
McGavin.
Yeah, man, I like that. But no, we're going to look at Tiger because his next time at playing a major is going to be the June 13th through the 16th, the U.S. Open.
Is that the next one?
That's the next one. If he can win that event, call it a day. He's got 14 right now. He's looking to get 15. He gets 18. He ties Jack. He's the second biggest winner on the tour with 78 wins. Sam Snead's ahead of him by just a few, lifetime-wise. Tiger's the best golfer to ever play. It's amazing.
Well,
No, he's
already
amazing.
now, you're saying?
Well, think about it. The guy who has the most wins ever is Sam Snead. Tiger's a couple behind him.
But that's just wins, though. I think they judge it on your major wins, though, and that's why Nicklaus is still considered the greatest.
But I'm saying overall, he's 4 behind now he's the number 2 major winner. He's the number 2 overall winner. I'm saying there's 2 people that have, something above Tiger in the history of golf.
Right, in Jack
2
Nicklaus
separate
and Sam
people.
Snead, you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
not the same guy, but 2 separate people. Jack doesn't even have the most wins. So you look at Tiger, he's going to win more than Sam Snead in this next year. All he has to do is win 3 more events, I believe it is, then he will have passed him.
Not to mention, he's still in his 36, right?
He's 36 years old.
He's got nothing but time on
So
his
I'm
side.
just saying, if he wins 3 events a year for the next 8 years, he's going to blow by that record. And if he wins his 5 majors, call it a day. He's the best golfer to ever live.
And in my opinion, I think he traded up. I think Lindsey Vonn is much cuter than Elin. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that one. I don't know. I think there's 7 or 8 other prostitutes he was with that might be nicer than both.
Oh, I don't know. A couple of them look pretty busted.
Can I help you? Can I help you? What do you do? I do it all. Have a seat. I will, because that's something I can do. Do something. Do something. I am. I did. What did you do? It's already done. What did you do? I helped you. Are you drunk? Not drunk enough.
Well, UFC on FX number 8 is this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. We're up to 8 now already?
Yes, it is.
You know, I love that they keep doing these free events for people like for example, AP would be a fine example, who doesn't follow MMA. These are for the folks that aren't fans of it. You don't have to pay for a pay-per-view. They've been putting them on at FX. This is now the 8th one. I'm telling you, man, you got to watch one of these.
But I got to say,
it's
I
still
have.
the greatest up-and-coming sport.
That's the problem. I've seen 2 things on FX, and I told you about one of them. When I told you one guy looked like his eye socket or something got damaged, he was on the mat just getting pummeled, and I thought, I can't watch this, man. How do you allow something like that? They don't even allow that to go in boxing. You see a guy getting beat up like that, they give him a standing 8 count, or they call it a match. It's over with. Not in the MMA. If you don't tap out, you're going to get killed.
I mean, the officials are pretty good at breaking it up when some guys pretty much, what's the term they use? He can't...
Can't defend himself?
Yeah, can't logically defend himself or whatever. But, I mean, you got to think about how quick these dudes are punching and kicking. Like, but in the time the official has to get in there and break it up, you've already been hit 3 or 4 times.
in the face on the mat.
Right.
I mean, your jaw's broken. Now it needs to be wired shut. They need to find your eyeball and reinsert it in your head or give you a glass one. I'm like, really? This is a sport? This is like racing to me. I don't know who gets involved in that. Michael Lou, this is your thing. You love the MMA.
I do love it.
I kind of like boxing. I'm trying to understand it. Help me out, because this is more barbaric than the Olympics were back in the day when they were throwing Christians to the lions. Help me out with this one.
Yeah, but that's what's so awesome about it. They've made fighting a sport. I'm the baddest one, and here's how we can prove it.
Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
Boxing's a sport. I mean, excuse me, the MMA, you call that a sport, but in golf, you can't go high while a guy is swinging, because, I'm sorry, it has to be quiet. It's a gentleman's sport. We got hockey when people kill each other, but basketball players throw an elbow, they get a flagrant two and get thrown out of games. I don't understand. In society, it's mixed messages. I don't get it. But talk to me about the MMA.
Well, let me just talk about the event first, if that's okay with you guys.
Please.
Well, the main event is pretty much all I want to talk about. It's Luke Rockhold versus Vitor Belfort. The winner of this fight gets to fight the winner between Anderson Silva, who is easily the best mixed martial artist
On the
ever
planet.
on the planet.
Let me ask you real quick. Is this a heavyweight, middleweight?
This is a middleweight fight. So they're fighting at 185 pounds. So the winner of this fight gets to fight the winner between Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman, which that fight is happening July 4th weekend. You guys should really check that out. But anyways, let me talk about
I don't know,
this
bro.
fight.
July
free?
4th weekend is Angels and Cardinals here in Anaheim.
Well, for mixed martial...
Just saying.
Okay. Well, anyways, this fight... Luke Rockhold was the former Strikeforce middleweight champion who has a record of 10-1.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yes.
They folded with him still being the champion, right?
Yes.
So he's technically still their middleweight champion. They just don't exist anymore.
Yeah, he's technically still the middleweight champion of
Okay.
Strikeforce. So that's why this is a number one contenders fight. Luke Rockhold has been taking shots at Vitor Belfort, and Joe, I know you used to watch UFC way back then. I don't know if...
Oh, I know Vitor, and I'm a fan. I've always liked Vitor Belfort.
Remember when he was 19 years old, known for the quickest hands in mixed martial arts? So, Vitor Belfort's coming off a knockout win over one of your favorite fighters in the UFC. Let me just name him for you. Michael the Count Bisping.
I cannot stand Michael Bisping.
He came out with a head kick knockout victory over Michael the Count Bisping.
Yeah, I
in the
like
second
Bisping as
round.
much as I like Diaz, and you know how I feel about Diaz.
But interesting about Vitor Belfort, he's been taking TRT. Michael, do you know what TRT stands for? Or Joe, do you know what that stands for?
It's some kind of steroid, right?
Is it a drug?
It's
It's a
sort of like
testosterone thing?
Yes, it's a testosterone thing, and TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy, and that's what Vitor Belfort has to be on now. And this guy just looks juiced up. You
Is
can
it
tell.
legal?
It's let me
It's
put
to
it like
balance
this.
out his testosterone.
It's legal steroids. Let me put it at that.
Okay.
And
He's been popped for steroids in the past, and he now has to take this legal form of it to balance out his testosterone because
Yes.
he screwed himself up from juicing in the past.
Exactly, and Luke Rockhold has been saying it. Even Michael Bisping saying that Vitor looks like just like a different animal. But the reason why I've been saying that is because Luke Rockhold has been saying that there is a formula to beat Vitor Belfort, as good as he is. And Vitor Belfort, he's no stranger to fighting. He's a great fighter. He's fought Anderson Silva. He's one of the few opponents to ever beat John Jones. He literally snapped his arm in the fight, but still lost. But I'm saying the look that Michael or AP
How do you
just
snap
gave,
somebody's arm in a fight and lose?
that just shows you how good John Jones really is. And we talked about this before. Hopefully, John Jones versus Anderson Silva happens.
Needs to happen.
Yes, but
I'm
anyways,
excited about the possibility of that and the possibility of GSP and Henderson.
yeah, GSP Henderson would
Benson
easily.
Henderson, that'd be a great fight. Oh, God, I hope those two fights happen.
Yeah.
It's got
So-
to be the 20th anniversary. It's October or November?
It's in November.
November, 20th year anniversary of the UFC, and UFC 8 on FX this weekend. That's Saturday night, and what's cool about the UFC when they do these free ones, if you go on Facebook at 1:35 odd start time, I think, but
They have Facebook prelims.
they got the Facebook prelims at 1:35. Then you switch over to Fuel TV at 3 o'clock. They got more prelim
Yeah.
fights. And then at 6 o'clock, the coverage starts on FX, and that'll be, the main event, and obviously leading up to Vitor Belfort and Luke Rockhold.
Exactly.
It's a full day of UFC from 1:35 till, I don't know, roughly 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And what's cool also on their pay-per-view events, for example, UFC 160 is next weekend. For the free events, pay-per-view events, they also have Facebook prelims still. There's more free fights on FX right before the main card, which happens on pay-per-view.
So the free prelims on Facebook and
And
FX or
FX.
Fuel always happen regardless? even
Yeah,
if it's-
regardless, you
Oh,
get to
man,
see
I've been
free
missing
fights.
out on some rad prelims.
Yeah, the only time you have to pay for a fight is for the main cards, which those happen on pay-per-view.
Unless you live in Huntington Beach, folks. Beachfront 301.
Or you can
Every
always
fight free.
you can always go to a Hooters or Buffalo Wild Wings, which is what I've been doing for the past few weeks.
That's true. Now that I mentioned Beachfront, I think I might have to make it out there tonight. My buddy Kevin's playing a show at 9 o'clock.
Oh, awesome.
Anyways, that's besides the point, but I just thought of Beachfront. I think I might have to get
Nice
down there
little
tonight.
plug-in right there.
Right.
But anyways, Vitor Belfort, Luke Rockhold, check the fight out. Number 1 contenders fight. Winner gets to fight Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman.
Let me ask you something, because I'm not sure what goes on in here. I understand they kill each other. What type of money do these fighters make?
They
That's
make
worth their lives. I mean, I don't understand.
Well, they make a good amount of money. They have the best doctors in the world.
Well,
always
who's making the
after.
most right now? Anderson Silva?
Anderson Silva.
Or John Jones,
No,
maybe?
no, excuse me, not Anderson Silva. The person that's making the most is GSP.
Really?
The person putting on the fight.
Usually his fights happen in Montreal. He's a Canadian fighter. Canadians back up whoever's fighting.
Well, speaking of which, you know this entire crowd is going to be behind Vitor, being that the fight's in Brazil
Oh,
tomorrow night.
definitely.
I don't think we're going to see any Luke Rockhold fans in Brazil.
To be honest, the biggest fans are either Brazilians or Canadians. That's why a lot of GSP fights are in Canada. They want to do more fights for Anderson Silva or Jose Aldo in Brazil, just being their well-known fighters and fighting in their home country.
It makes sense.
So
I
these
mean, the
countries are
Brazilians
big
really
for
put
jiu-jitsu? Is
Yeah,
that what
Brazilian
it is?
jiu-jitsu
Well,
is,
just
is
mixed
UFC.
martial-
You know, that's what put it on the map was the Brazilians.
Yeah,
so.
well, just mixed martial arts in general. Well, you got to remember Hoyce Gracie. Remember him way back in the day?
course.
Put jiu-jitsu on the map. So, I'm just saying. Or, excuse me, I took
Brazilian
Joe's
jiu-jitsu
thing.
are the
He's
guys,
just saying.
are the guys that flip around and they do a lot of things with angles like that, right?
Yes.
Like kicking. Okay, I got you. Sounds like a winner to me.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
What time is this event happening?
On Facebook, the prelims are at 1:35 on Fuel TV, and I'd have to look up what channel that is in your area. I'm not sure, but that starts at 3. And then the main card is 6 p.m. Saturday night on FX.
Cool.
And also, don't forget that since UFC signed a deal with Fox, they also have they stack the cards that happen on Fox really well. So the next Fox card should be coming up within the next few months. When it's on Fox, you should definitely check it out.
Well, I tell you what, when it's not on Saturday night, because this Saturday night, I have to tell you guys, I'm going to be in church Saturday night, so I'm going to miss this wonderful event, this dinner viewing of blood. I'll see the next one. That's what I'll do. I'll see the next one.
Sounds like a plan.
No matter, if you do anything, even pay for it if you have to. The 20th anniversary in November, don't miss that card.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be the hugest thing for the sport of mixed martial arts. It's the UFC's 20th year anniversary. And that's for all of you out there, too. If you're going to watch one MMA event in your life, watch the UFC 20th anniversary in November. But you should be watching all of them anyways.
I'll make sure to turn in to finalize this so I can find out more about it.
Well,
Let's
there's a couple more matchups going on in the NBA. I suppose we should just, do how we did in the first half when we talked about the Eastern Conference. Might as well address the game or the series that's already over. Memphis, Western Conference Finals for the first time in their history.
And this is the team that I am picking to win it all.
This
Win
is a
it
team
all.
that has a coach with no contract.
That's true.
That's where I am with this. But yeah, you're right. The Memphis Grizzlies look good, Michael.
Oh, definitely. I mean, their defense reminds me of the 04-05 Pistons.
Also, if we look back to game 1 of this series, Memphis could have easily swept the Thunder. They lost that game by 2 points in the closing
By
seconds.
a last-second shot by Durant.
Think about that for a minute. Memphis could have swept the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending Western Conference champion. It was so big, them losing Westbrook.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think even the Lakers losing Kobe, I don't think that had the impact that Westbrook getting hurt for the Thunder has had.
Well, he's easily...
Biggest impact injury this playoffs?
He's
Oh,
easily
well.
a top 5 guard in the NBA, hands down. Easily.
Well, you're saying he's a top 5 guard. He's a top 10 player.
Yeah.
Period. So you look at a guy that scores, 25 or so % of their points?
With 6 assists, maybe 5 rebounds or a steal there.
And when he gets in sixth gear, you're not stopping the guy. He
No.
sets 2 points, and you might be fouling him, and it might be 3 points.
And he's a blur on the court.
And I
He is.
got to say, that brought in the true value that he has when they talk about him shooting so much. when he's doing what he's doing, you can't double team Durant at all. You can't beat up on Durant at all because you're trying to stop Westbrook. So when Westbrook is running around the court, when he does pass it to Durant, he's easily wide open for his 27-footers or whatever it is, or single covered with a guy that's a few feet off of him. So, yeah, you're right. He had the biggest impact.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So with this Thunder loss, does this have to do with, or should the Russell Westbrook critics finally be silenced, or how do you feel about that?
I am the biggest Russell Westbrook critic, and I am silenced right now.
You are? I thought Skip was.
Well,
But then again, they are the same guy.
no. We've been through this before. I'm Stephen A. You're Skip. One thing I want to talk about this game, and I was actually texting both of you last night while this was going on. Tony Allen went to the bench about, 2/3 of the way through the third quarter. Oklahoma City goes on that run. It was a 16-4 run. Tony Allen comes back in the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Oklahoma City goes 1 for 10 with 4 turnovers.
Puts the brakes on it.
I'm just saying, Tony Allen, man, this guy is incredible.
He does what he does.
3 players in their starting 5 that made the defensive team this year.
That is crazy. I mean, you brought up...
He was the first. He was tied with LeBron for
Yeah,
the
well-
number 1 points in defensive player.
Well, he made first team, but Conley Jr. and Marc Gasol both made second team as
Right,
well.
no,
So 3
but
starters.
But
in
I'm
the
saying
top.
he and LeBron had 50 points. They showed the point breakdown. I'm saying he and LeBron both had 50 points. Mark was behind them both and is the defensive player of the year, so we know we were confused by that.
Yeah,
but
really
to have
confused by
3
that.
players in the defensive top 10, let's say, in the league, wow.
Well, for the first time ever, it was 11 because there was a tie with Chandler and
Okay,
Noah. So,
okay.
Well, let's not discredit what Tayshaun Prince has brought to the table as
Huge.
well.
The trade of the trade deadline.
He's looking like a young Tayshaun Prince that played with the Pistons years ago.
Oh, speaking of that, I meant to bring this up earlier. In the Chicago game last night, even though they lost, Rip Hamilton thought he was in Detroit last night, didn't he?
Oh, he looked like
Rip
he was
Hamilton
in-
He
showed up
played
last night and
30
played
minutes.
well.
He played 30 minutes
He looked
last
like
night.
he had hair again.
Yeah.
When he had his
man.
long braids.
Yeah. Oh,
no,
man.
He braiding head now.
But yeah, you brought this up before. It's not how good the Memphis Grizzlies are, like single coverage for defense. It's how good they look team defensive wise. They look awesome.
They're a great team. They talk on defense because you're right. They don't jump. Marc Gasol doesn't jump. Zebo doesn't jump.
I don't think Zebo's feet have ever left the ground in his life.
Only to change his shoes. I think that's all he does.
Because even
Is
when he
only-
walks, he drags his feet.
You know he does. But you look at Tony Allen, you say this guy is playing defense. Connolly's playing good defense, and you say Prince is playing good defense. I really like this team.
And I also want to bring up the rotations that Lionel Hollins has done with the team. It seems like, other than maybe last night,
I was
with
just
the
going to
whole
say, that was
Tony
my one
Allen.
problem. This is no disrespect to Jared Bayless because he's a decent defender and a very good shooter, but why was Jared Bayless on the floor that entire run and Tony Allen on the bench? I think he might have been, Lionel Hollins may have been punishing Tony Allen for the inadvertent technical. He accidentally threw his either T-shirt or a rag on the floor.
Yeah.
He had a towel. He said he lifted his arm up and he forgot where he was and what he was doing.
Well, he had a towel and a T-shirt in the hand, and I think he forgot he had 2 things, so when he went to wave the towel, the shirt went onto the court while Fisher was shooting the 3. They counted the 3 and then charged Tony Allen with the technical. I kind of think Hollins was punishing him for that. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me because Tony Allen's got to be on the floor.
Well, other than
he
that,
might have been tired.
Other
He
than
might have
that-
been tired, though.
Tony Allen gets tired?
Yeah, he's playing. His defense is relentless.
and he sprints up and down the court easily.
That's what I'm saying. Whether he makes mistakes or not, he is just a full
gritty
bore. He's
player.
going. I like his Jets because he doesn't seem to argue much. It's like if he doesn't like a call, he gets in and he keeps going. What you got?
Anyways, Memphis beating Oklahoma City 4-1. The other matchup in the Western Conference, and I really still believe that this is going to go 7 games.
This is a fun series.
San Antonio's up 3-2 right now. Game 6 is tonight, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time at Golden State. I just can't see the best shooting backcourt in the NBA having back-to-back games like Curry and Thompson had in Game 5. They were awful. What were they? They combined 6 for 22 in Game 5 and combined for 13 points. That's not going to happen again, especially at Oracle.
Well, with the nickname that those two have, it sounds like a WWF tag team, the Splash Bros. That is such an awesome backcourt nickname.
Best
gotta-
shooting backcourt in the NBA.
You
The
gotta
Splash Brothers.
love him. But if Curry does anything wrong, his ankle's gonna roll. He's gonna have problems. He won't be able to score. Warriors are gonna lose. So I'm just hoping they tape him up well and do whatever they do, shoot him up, whatever it is, so he comes in and he can play a good game.
I like what Jared Jack does off the bench, though. I don't think. I mean, yeah, if Curry gets hurt and goes down, that's a big, big loss, and you need him there. But I don't think it's that huge of a loss when you have to go to Jarrett Jack.
Well, you brought up an interesting
My
point
problem
about
with
Jared Jack.
My problem with Jared Jack is he's the guy that shoots you in and out of games, and I like his attitude. I like what he does, but he turns the ball over too much. I mean, he looks like
And the meanest
Clippers.
shoe game out there.
He does, but he looks like the Clipper backup guard. He's running full speed down the court, and you'll see him fall 2 or 3 times. Ball rolls out of bounds, wrong time of the game. Could be the last 2 minutes of the game. You need a bucket. He dribbles it off the back of his foot because everything he does it in a hurry.
And he won't wear those shoes again. He scuffed them.
Yeah, he's gonna throw them away. So I'm sure he only wears 1 pair per game. But I look at this guy and I say, if he could just slow down, they could beat San Antonio, but he just doesn't. And that's the thing that gets me. The last game, Curry didn't handle the ball the last 5 minutes of the game. It was Jared Jack. And Jared was making some really bad mistakes. And they blew them out.
He was, but I look for Thompson specifically to have a huge bounce back game tonight.
Well, let me ask you.
No fouls in the first half. Stays on the court, you're probably right.
Let me ask you
He
guys
doesn't get in
this.
foul trouble.
Yes, he does.
He does, but then he waves to Mark Jackson. No, I'm good. Leave me out here. And usually he doesn't foul out.
What does his daddy say? The reason why a lot of times he's not in games is because he makes silly fouls. And he did a lot of that because he actually was in a pregame or postgame show talking about that. My dad's one complaint about me is that I make stupid fouls. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Are the Golden State Warriors the biggest surprise that's happening in the NBA playoffs, in your guys' opinion?
I think Mark Jackson is the biggest surprise along with what he's done with that team. I got to say yes.
Yeah. Very surprised by what they're putting together in Golden State, and depending on Curry and Bogut's ankles, they got something.
Well, actually,
they got something pretty hot coming for years to
The
come.
biggest surprise might be the Clippers that got eliminated so fast, and then the second biggest positive thing is to watch Golden State would do what they're doing.
Well,
'Cause I thought the Clippers would.
I'm not surprised that the Clippers got eliminated by Memphis. We just talked about how great they are defensively.
Well,
No
I do
surprise
too,
there.
but the Clippers did the exact opposite last year.
DeAndre
beating
and Blake
Memphis.
are liabilities in late in games. They're
Well, I'd
worthless.
have to throw this in here. The biggest surprise, well, top 3 surprises that happened to me: Chicago winning in Miami for Game 1.
Okay, go on. That's
And
one.
also, the Golden State Warriors beating the Denver Nuggets, who I actually picked to win it all, but now I have Memphis. And the third, I'd have to say, Memphis winning in 5. I honestly thought they'd win, or I knew that they would beat the Thunder without Westbrook, but I didn't think they would win in 5. I thought the game would go to 7 games.
Well, I'll remember never to ask you about basketball. Since you're so surprised, I'll ask you about MMA, and I'll believe in all that you say. I bugged Joe about some basketball information, but I'm going to leave you to your surprises. But MMA, I'll be calling you up, Michael Luke, for real.
Well, I don't know if you heard it yesterday, but there's a lot of pissed off people in Seattle today.
Oh! What happened?
Well, we've been following the story. We've been covering it, and why are the Kings not moving to Seattle and becoming the Supersonics, especially the year that Gary the Glove Payton goes into the Hall of Fame? Give Seattle a team back.
And do you understand what the commissioner said? He wants to keep the team there. He doesn't want them to leave for no reason. But yet when Seattle was leaving to go to Oklahoma, he didn't have the same opinion
As
about
a matter
that.
of fact, when Seattle was sold to the current owner of Oklahoma City, it was pending that he wouldn't move the team out of Seattle. And that got approved. And now they're in Oklahoma City. And David Stern twists the knife in Seattle's back last night when he says, okay, I got to cut this short. I got to get to the Oklahoma City game. Like, did you really just say that, dude? Like, what a jerk.
And this is the same guy that nixed the CP3 deal, correct?
Yep.
Oh, well,
Not
same
bad.
guy.
That was because he was the owner of the Hornets. Now
Well, the league owned him, yeah, so technically he was the
And
owner.
he's the head.
No, I can't think of his name, but the owner of the Saints is now the Pelicans owner.
yes, Mr.
Um,
Benson.
One other thing I talked about at the top of the show, and I don't want to forget to mention this because I'm pretty excited about
I
it.
just looked it up. Tell me about this 5'9" guy squeaking around.
Who
Tell
you
me
talking
about him.
Wait, who are you talking about? This one here?
Tell me about him.
You
Yes,
talking
sir.
about the guy
Yes,
that
sir.
didn't pass his physical in Arizona and now is the newest Oakland Raider kickoff returner, Josh Cribbs?
Josh.
I love Josh Cribbs. I was excited for you in free agency when we talked about it about a month ago that the Cardinals got Josh Cribbs. I talked about what a rad pickup that was. For whatever reason, with his knee, didn't pass the physical, and now he's a Raider.
I think he had surgery
I love
maybe
it.
2 months ago
I
on
love
his
it.
knee. How do you pass? You know what I mean? How do you
Love it.
pass? How do you pass a physical and you just had surgery recently? It's not going to happen. He's a free agent guy, great pickup, signed a 1-year contract. So I'm going to say to the Raiders, he's going to have a lot of attempts. Because you know they're good defense, Swiss cheese. He's going to have a lot of chances. So I got to say I love it.
One more thing I want to touch on real quick here, and we're about out of time. Sports Illustrated released their top money list for athletes, what they're going to make for 2013. They've been doing it since 2004. Floyd Mayweather is going to make $90 million this year. LeBron James, second closest, only 56.5. Drew Brees, this kind of surprised me, 47.8. Kobe, 47. And your boy Tiger, 40.8, is actually the lowest total Tiger's projected to make over a year since they started the list in 2004. That's not too bad. 40.8 and Lindsey Vonn.
That's because he lost a lot of money in endorsements.
Right. Well, that went by quick.
That was a great hour.
Man, I want to remind you guys, as always, go ahead and like our page, Fanalize This, on Facebook. You can now follow us on Twitter. We have a YouTube page now, Fanalize This with no spaces. And you can catch any episodes you've missed over on Spreaker.com. While you're over there, check out our affiliate shows, the UOU Show, DNA Radio, No Salary Cap Radio, the Sanders Sports Show, and On Air with Ruben J. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I just want to say it was great having you, Michael Lou.
LBJ to LA in 2014.
Start the movement now. For Fanalize This, I'm Joe 5 o'clock somewhere.
This is Anthony Perry.
And this is Michael Lou.
Peace.